In this video, I will show how I mix skin colors to create flesh tones. I will be using acrylic paints. The paints I use are golden open acrylics. Open acrylics are slow drying and dry slower than other acrylics. The palette I used is a Stay Wet palette, which I highly recommend. The palette comes with a sponge that is kept wet, and it has a paper palette on top. Now if I keep my lid on my palette, the paints will stay wet for maybe 3-4 days. So I highly recommend it. The colors I'm going to use are titanium white, cadmium yellow, cadmium red, yellow ochre, burnt umber, burnt sienna, and ultramarine blue. I will also be using an open acrylic medium. The first color I'll mix, I'll start out with white, and it's going to be a fairly light color, so it's going to be mostly white. Then I'll use yellow ochre, burnt sienna, very little burnt sienna. I want to keep this color fairly light. And just a touch of red. Red is very strong. Then I'll just keep mixing a little bit darker each time. I'm going to take a little of this off and add a little more white. And I'll go a little darker yet. Very little white. Mostly burnt sienna. A little burnt umber. My next color will be mostly burnt umber and burnt sienna. A little yellow ochre. And just a tiny bit of white. The next color will be mostly burnt sienna, burnt umber, and ultramarine blue. And I'll start off with those colors. This is a study I did for this video so I can show how I do apply some of these paints. While I was off camera, I did make my paints just a little bit darker. They're the same paints I showed when I was mixing them. I just added a little bit more of the darker colors to them. I decided to do that once I did this study. Now what I normally do is, say I'm working with light, I'll use a lighter color, but I will also use this medium, which makes the paint very clear, and it makes it easier for me to blend. Now the whole thing, when you're doing a portrait, you want to make the face, don't let the face look flat. So you try to figure where your light's coming from. Just go a little bit darker now. And you'll be able to see it as I work this. And the thing is, when I do this, I make several layers. I let the paint dry, then I'll come back and do another layer, and then I keep trying to get the shapes. I'm not going to worry about making this look like a portrait. It's not of anybody I know. It's just something I drew that I came up with for this video. When I get to the areas where there's going to be less light, I'll use the darker colors. Then I'll come back with a lighter color, and again I'll use some of that medium. Now the light normally would be hitting the cheekbone and the bridge on the nose. And if the light is coming from this side, then you're going to have a little bit more shading over here. And the same with the forehead. The forehead and the bridge of the nose will catch quite a bit of light, and so will the cheekbone. Now you're also going to catch some of that light, not as much, but a little bit over here. And like I said, if you keep going in there in layers, you can get the contour of the shapes and the face. Tip. Now I didn't use any of the medium here trying to catch the eye socket. That's normally going to be a little bit darker, but there will be some light on the eyelid. And like I say, I'm not trying to paint a portrait. I'm just trying to show how I would layer this. But the nice thing is, using this gel, you can keep blending. Then on this paint right here, it has that ultramarine mixed with the burnt sienna and the burnt umber, so it gives you a nice dark color for the shading. Again, I'm not mixing any medium with that. And hey, I'm not trying to do a tutorial on portraits. I'm just trying to show how, when light hits, you know, you can have light colors and dark colors. You have where the light reflects, and then you also have where there's more shadow. So I did these off my palette, these color swatches, and then from there I can work here. And basically I use most of these colors on lighter skin, which I'll do a small demonstration next. Now this is a portrait of a person I know that I've been working on. I just thought I could go ahead and show a little bit of my palette, my colors I mix, how they work on it too. But I still have quite a bit of work to do on it, but I can show a little bit. This is the same palette I used on the darker skin tones, and I'll use it on here. Now sometimes I might mix a little more white or red or one of the other colors to get what I want. But I'm just going to go ahead and start like I did with the other. I'm going to a little bit of gel. Then again, I'm going to catch some light up here, and like I say, I'll do several layers, especially since this is something that I need to do a good job on, because it is for someone I know. But so I just keep going a little bit lighter, and then blend it. And as you can see, it's the same pellet. It also depends on the makeup a person uses. Might have a little bit of pink on the cheeks. And there's quite a bit of shadow over here. So as you can see, I'm using some of the same darker colors I used on my other picture. But this kind of shows how I do mix my skin tones, and pretty much good for most skin tones. I hope this helps. I appreciate you watching my videos, and I would like if you would subscribe to them. I'll make other videos as I go. I do have some videos I've already made, and I'll be doing some more. So thank you.